One, stop what you are doing and go find your last 3 pool store receipts. Add them up, not the annual total, not the seasonal estimate, the actual number from the last 3 visits. Most pool owners who do this land somewhere between $200 and $350 for 3 trips. 3 trips, roughly 6 to 10 weeks of pool ownership. And when they look at the itemized list, they cannot name with confidence what half the products actually do or whether they needed them at all. Here is the number that should change how you read every future receipt. 1. The chemistry keeping a residential pool clean costs approximately $4 to $6 per month when sourced correctly, not $4 to $6 per week, per month. The compounds doing the actual work in your pool water, the molecules oxidizing bacteria, buffering pH, and stabilizing chlorine, are commodity chemicals available in grocery stores and hardware stores that you drive past on the way to the pool store. 1. The pool store is selling you the same compounds in smaller containers with pool pictures on the front at markups that average 300 to 500% above the grocery store price for the identical active ingredient. The specific compound that started this markup 20 plus years ago and continues generating more revenue per pool owner than any other single product is sodium bicarbonate baking soda, the same white powder in the orange arm and hammer box in the baking aisle. 1. The pool store sells it under the names Alkalinity Up, Total Alkalinity Increaser, pH Buffer, Carbonate Booster, and half a dozen other labels designed to describe the function rather than the compound. The price ranges from $15 to $40 per container depending on size and brand. The grocery store price for the identical compound, $1 per pound. That is the $40 product they have been selling you for $4. Not a similar product. Not a comparable compound. The identical molecule at the identical purity level doing the identical job in your pool water. One flipped over the back of the pool store tub says sodium bicarbonate. The back of the grocery store box says sodium bicarbonate. The pool responds to the compound. It cannot read the label on the front. By the end of this video, you will know every compound in your pool store cart that has a grocery store equivalent, exactly what those equivalents are, the correct doses for your pool size, the sequence that makes them work, the mistakes that waste money even with the right products, and the complete system that keeps a residential pool clean all summer for under $50 total in chemistry. Not per month for the season. How the $40 markup has been running for 20 years and why it still works. Understanding the structure behind the markup is not about anger at the pool store. It is about understanding which recommendations serve you and which ones serve the margin, so every future pool decision is made with clear eyes. The pool chemical industry operates on 2 advantages that have held for decades. The first is context. A pool store is a specialty environment. 1 trained staff, professional equipment, water test printouts with 12 flagged parameters, walls of products organized by the problem each one claims to solve. This context creates the perception that pool chemistry is specialized knowledge requiring specialty products available only in this specific environment. It is not. The chemistry is commodity. The context is the premium. The second advantage is the information gap between what pool owners know when they walk in and what the counterperson knows. 1A buyer who knows that alkalinity increaser is baking soda does not buy alkalinity increaser at the pool store. A buyer who does not know this, which is the vast majority of residential pool owners, buys the $40 tub without comparison shopping because there is no visible comparison to make. The information gap is what makes the specialty price sustainable. Close the gap and the price collapses immediately. The free water test at the pool store entrance is the mechanism that maintains the information gap. The test itself is generally accurate. The recommendations that follow are not neutral. 1A water test showing low alkalinity, slightly high pH, and low chlorine could be addressed with baking soda, borax, and bleach for approximately $12 total. Processed through the pool store recommendation flow, the same test result produces an alkalinity product, a pH product, a chlorine product, a clarifier for good measure, and sometimes an algaecide for insurance. Total, $75 to $120. Same chemistry problem. The information gap between those 2 outcomes is worth $60 to $110 per pool store visit, and it compounds across 4 to 6 visits per summer season into the $400 to $700 seasonal spend that most residential pool owners accept as the cost of pool ownership. It is not the cost of pool ownership, it is the cost of not knowing what the active ingredient on the back of the pool store container actually is. The complete substitution guide, every compound, every grocery store equivalent, every dose. Here is the full list. 1. Every compound the pool store sells that has a direct grocery store or hardware store equivalent. The active ingredient, where to buy it outside the pool store, the cost comparison, and the correct dose for a 10,000-gallon pool. Scale linearly for your pool size. Sodium bicarbonate, the $4 that replace the $40 pool store name. Alkalinity up, total alkalinity increaser. pH buffer, carbonate booster, grocery store name, baking soda, Arm & Hammer or any store brand. Pool store price $15 to $40 depending on container size and brand. Grocery store price $1 per pound. 1 available in bulk bags at wholesale clubs for less active ingredient comparison. Identical. Both are sodium bicarbonate at the same purity level. What it does: raises total alkalinity, which is the chemical buffer that holds pH stable between corrections. A pool with alkalinity at 80 to 120 parts per million resists pH swings from aeration, swimmer load, and chemical additions. A pool with alkalinity at 50 ppm has pH swinging freely all day, requiring constant correction and burning through pH products weekly. 1 baking soda is the fix for every pH instability problem that pool store pH products address temporarily and repeatedly. Correct dose: 1.5 pounds of baking soda raises total alkalinity by 10 ppm in a 10,000-gallon pool. Add in 2 stages broadcast across the surface with the pump running. Wait 4 hours between stages and retest before adding the second half. Target range is 80 to 120 ppm. For maximum pH stability, aim for 100 to 110 ppm. 1. Do not skip the 4-hour wait. Alkalinity stabilizes slowly, and a retest at 1 hour produces an inaccurate low reading that causes owners to add unnecessarily. Sequence: correct alkalinity before correcting pH every time. Alkalinity is the buffer that holds pH corrections in place. Correcting pH in a pool with inadequate alkalinity is temporary. It drifts back within 24 to 48 hours because the buffer that should hold it does not exist. Fix alkalinity first, and pH corrections made afterwards stay for days instead of hours. 1 annual saving on this 1 substitution for a typical residential pool, requiring 4 to 6 alkalinity corrections per season, $60 to $200 depending on how much product each correction requires and current pool store pricing. Sodium tetraborate, the $7 box that replaces 3 pool store products. Pool store name: pH up, pH increaser, pH plus pH stabilizer. Grocery store name: 20 Mule Team Borax. Laundry aisle. Pool store price $12 to $18 per container. Grocery store price $5 to $1 to 76-ounce box. Active ingredient comparison: sodium tetraborate in both cases for pH raising. 1 Borax also establishes the borate buffer system that the pool store pH stabilizer products attempt to replicate at significantly higher prices. What it does beyond pH raising: at the correct initial dose of 20 pounds per 10,000 gallons, Borax establishes a borate buffer system in the water that provides ongoing pH stability beyond what alkalinity alone delivers. The borate buffer specifically resists the upward pH push from aeration, the most consistent force driving residential pool pH out of the effective chlorine range during summer. 1A pool with both alkalinity and borates established has 2 independent buffering systems working simultaneously. pH holds in the 7.4 to 7.6 range more consistently and for longer stretches. Chlorine works at full effectiveness for more hours per day. Combined chlorine accumulates at a lower rate. Shock frequency drops for most owners. 1 76-ounce box of borax costs $5 to $10 and handles an entire season of pH raising needs for most residential pools. The pool store pH up equivalent costs $12 to $18 for a smaller quantity that does nothing to establish the lasting borate buffer. 1. The borate system setup: 20 pounds of borax for a 10,000-gallon pool. Costs approximately $18 to $24 total and provides all-season pH stability for a one-time seasonal investment. For larger pH corrections needed quickly: washing soda, Arm & Hammer Super Washing Soda. Same laundry aisle, $4 to Ballers to Brox. Raises pH more aggressively than borax. 1 box covers an entire season of larger pH raising needs. Muriatic acid, the $10 hardware store product the pool store sells for $25. Pool store name, pH down, pH minus, pH decreaser, dry acid. Hardware store name, muriatic acid. One pool store price, $18 to $25 for sodium bisulfate dry acid in a specialty container. Hardware store price, $10 per gallon of muriatic acid. Performance comparison, muriatic acid works faster and more powerfully than dry acid for the same pH reduction task. Pool professionals use muriatic acid. The pool store sells dry acid to residential customers because it is safer to ship and handle. The safety difference is real but manageable with standard precautions. The cost difference is significant. One safety protocol before every use without exception. Dilute in a bucket of pool water before adding to the pool. Add acid to water, never water to acid. Pour slowly at the deep end of the pool away from the skimmer, lights and fittings with the pump running. Wear eye protection and closed shoes. Add in stages, test between additions, and never add more than 16 ounces to a 10,000-gallon pool without retesting. Do not overshoot below pH 7.0. Dose 8 to 12 ounces of muriatic acid lowers pH by approximately 0.2 units in a 10,000-gallon pool. Add half the estimated dose. Run the pump 30 minutes, retest, add the remainder if pH is still above 7.6. 1 gallon handles all pH lowering needs for most residential pools across an entire season and stores safely with the cap secured away from other chemicals. Sodium hypochlorite, the $4 jug that replaces the $9 pool store bottle. Pool store name, liquid pool chlorine, liquid chlorinating solution. Grocery store name, plain unscented liquid bleach. Pool store price, $6 to $9 per gallon at standard pricing, $10 to $14 per gallon during peak summer demand. One grocery store price, $3 to $5 per large jug regardless of season. Active ingredient comparison, sodium hypochlorite in both. Pool store version at 10 to 12.5% concentration. Grocery store version at 6 to 8.25%. Same compound. Proportionally more volume needed from bleach to deliver the same active chlorine. Cost per unit of active chlorine still favors bleach by 20 to 50% at standard prices and significantly more during summer price spikes. The qualification that cannot be compromised, plain and unscented only. Sodium hypochlorite as the only listed active ingredient. 1. Read the label every time. No splash guard formula, no scented variety, no outdoor bleach with surfactants, no thickened gel versions, no cleaning additives of any description. Any additive beyond sodium hypochlorite and water causes foam, residue, or chemistry interference in pool water. Plain, that is the only word that matters on the label. Dose for daily maintenance in a 10,000-gallon pool. 21 ounces of 6% bleach raises free chlorine by 1 ppm. Most summer pools need 1 to 2 ppm of added chlorine per day. That is 21 to 42 ounces per evening addition at dusk. Scale for your pool size. 1 timing. Always at dusk. Bleach added in the morning under summer sun loses 50 to 90% of its dose to UV destruction before it can circulate and work. Dusk additions work through the night at full effectiveness. This timing rule is not optional and not a minor optimization. It is the difference between a bleach system that works and one that appears to require enormous quantities, because half of each dose is being destroyed before it does anything dose. For weekly shock, 2 gallons of 6% bleach per 10,000 gallons at dusk after heavy use weeks, pre-dissolve in a bucket before adding 1 run pump through the night. Test at dawn if chlorine dropped near zero by morning. Shock again the following dusk. Weekly algaecide, the $20 bottle replaced by correct chlorine management. Pool store name, algaecide, super algaecide, polyquat algaecide, copper algaecide, grocery store equivalent, none needed. Pool store price, $15 to $25 per bottle, purchased weekly or bi-weekly by most tablet-fed pool owners. Correct replacement, consistent free chlorine at 2 to 4 ppm with correct pH at 7.4 to 7.6. 1A pool maintaining correct free chlorine at correct pH does not develop algae under normal conditions. Algicide treats algae after it has established. It kills the cells produced by the conditions that produce the bloom without addressing those conditions. Correct chlorine and pH management addresses the conditions before algae can establish. The weekly algaecide bottle is solving a problem that does not exist in a correctly maintained pool. Eliminating weekly algaecide from the shopping routine saves $180 to $300 per season without replacing it with any other product. 1. The daily 2-minute morning test that catches chlorine and pH drift before it creates the conditions algae needs is the only substitution required. A $15 bottle of test strips covering the entire summer season versus $180 to $300 in weekly algaecide. Same outcome, different cost, and the test strips actually address the cause while the algaecide addresses the symptom before the complete maintenance system. If you want every dose on one printable page, the Pool Carter Playbook, from green to crystal clear. 109 pages covering the complete grocery store method with exact doses for every pool size. The full SLAM process for green pools, seasonal guides through closing, and the 5 numbers that run your pool all summer. Everything I wish someone had handed me on day 1. Normally $67, right now just $29.99 7-day money-back guarantee, instant PDF download. Link is below this video. The 4 products that still belong at the pool store and why. This channel draws honest lines. The grocery store method covers the majority of residential pool chemistry. 1. These 4 products have no grocery store equivalent and genuinely belong at the pool store. Cyanuric acid granules, no grocery store equivalent exists. Stabilizer protects chlorine from UV destruction, and without it at 30 to 50 ppm bleach additions are destroyed by summer sun faster than they can be added. 5 pounds costs $20 to $30 and handles most pools for a full season. Buy it at the pool store. Calcium hypochlorite granular shock in bulk. 1 cal hypo at 68% available chlorine raises free chlorine faster and higher per pound than bleach for slam situations and heavy corrective shock needs. A 25-pound bulk bucket bought at the pool store at the start of the season costs significantly less per treatment than individual bags and handles the entire season of corrective shocking and emergency slam treatments. Buy it in bulk at the start of the season. A quality drop test kit. The Taylor K 2006 or comparable kit. Test strips are adequate for daily quick checks of free chlorine and pH. 1. They are not reliable enough for cyanuric acid, combined chlorine, or the precise alkalinity readings needed to calculate correction doses accurately. A $25 to $35 drop test kit is a one-time purchase that pays for itself immediately and provides the accuracy the grocery store method depends on to work correctly. Borate test strips. Standard drop test kits do not test borates if you establish the borax buffer system, which this channel recommends. A borate strip confirms the level accurately and costs $10 for a bottle that lasts the entire season. 4 products. 1 pool store trip per season. Everything else comes from the grocery store and hardware store at a fraction of the pool store price. The 3 mistakes that waste money even with the right products. Mistake 1. Adding products in the wrong sequence. Baking soda corrects alkalinity. Muriatic acid or borax corrects pH. Bleach adds chlorine. These 3 products work correctly only when applied in the sequence alkalinity, then pH, then chlorine. Adding chlorine before pH is correct means the chlorine is going into water where it works at reduced effectiveness. Adding pH correction before alkalinity is stable means the pH correction drifts back within 24 to 48 hours because the buffer that should hold it does not exist yet. Both errors consume product without producing the result that product should have delivered. The sequence is not a recommendation. It is the chemistry dependency between the 3 corrections. Mistake 2. Adding bleach in the morning. This error eliminates 50 to 90% of the effectiveness of every morning bleach addition during peak summer months. UV destroys sodium hypochlorite rapidly under direct sun. An owner who switches from pool store liquid chlorine to bleach and adds it at 9 a.m. in August concludes that bleach does not work as well as pool store chlorine. The product is fine. The timing is the variable. Pool store liquid chlorine in the same pool at the same 9 a.m. time loses the same percentage to UV. The timing failure affects both products equally. Add bleach at dusk, every addition without exception. Mistake 3. Testing with strips for CYA. Strips give directional readings on cyanuric acid that can be off by 30 to 50 ppm in either direction. An owner whose pool is at 85 ppm CYA, but whose strip reads 40 ppm believes CYA is fine and continues adding their chlorine source into water where chlorine lock is already impairing effectiveness. The grocery store method depends on accurate CYA knowledge to dose correctly. Use a drop test kit for CYA. Use strips for the daily quick chlorine and pH check. Know which tool is appropriate for which measurement. The complete $4 per month maintenance system. Everything in one place. Here is the complete system. Every step, every product, every timing detail. 1. This is what $4 per month of pool chemistry looks like in practice. Season opening once. Establish the borate buffer. 20 pounds of borax per 10,000 gallons, broadcast across the surface with the pump running. Correct pH with muriatic acid 2 hours after. Borax raises pH by approximately 0.5 units, and the acid correction returns it to 7.4 to 7.6. Retest the following morning. Total cost for the buffer setup on a 10,000-gallon pool, $18 to $24. This setup runs all season with a small mid-season top-up. 1 season opening. Once, set cyanuric acid to 30 to 50 ppm with granules added through the skimmer. Wait 48 hours before retesting since CYA dissolves slowly. Do not add more before the full 48-hour retest. A dose that appears not to have worked at 24 hours may have the second half still dissolving. Cost: $20 to $30 for 5 pounds, which handles the initial correction for most pools. Season opening, once. Correct alkalinity to 100 to 110 ppm with grocery store baking soda. Add in 2 stages with a 4-hour retest between 1. This is the alkalinity foundation that the borate buffer rests on and that holds every pH correction made through the season. Cost: $6 to $10 for the initial correction, depending on starting level and pool size. Every morning in July and August, 2-minute test of free chlorine and pH with a test strip. Chlorine below 2 ppm. Note it. Add bleach at dusk. pH above 7.6. Note it. Add diluted muriatic acid at dusk. Both in range, nothing to do. 2 minutes, done every evening at dusk. Add calculated bleach dose based on pool volume and morning test result. 1 for a 10,000-gallon pool, maintaining 2 to 4 ppm free chlorine in July, approximately 30 to 42 ounces of 6% bleach per evening. Walk the perimeter and distribute evenly. Confirm the pump is running for at least 2 hours afterward, once per week. Full 5-number panel with the drop test kit. Alkalinity, CYA, calcium hardness in addition to chlorine and pH. Correct alkalinity with baking soda. If it has drifted below 90 ppm, correct pH after alkalinity is stable. Brush all pool surfaces for 3 minutes, corners, steps, walls behind the ladder, empty skimmer and pump baskets. 1. Check filter pressure and clean if 8 to 10 psi above normal. Check water level and top off if needed. Shock at dusk after any heavy use week. 2 gallons of 6% bleach per 10,000 gallons. Pump running through the night. Once per month, test CYA with drop test kit. Test borate level with strip. Top up borax if below 30 ppm. Check calcium hardness for the 200 to 400 ppm range. Total product purchase per month in season, approximately 12 to 14 jugs of bleach at $4 each for a 10,000-gallon pool in peak summer, $48 to $56. 1 plus the initial season setup of baking soda, borax, and pool store items which amortizes across the season. Monthly average chemistry cost across a 5-month season, including setup, $30 to $50 for most residential pools. The $4 per month in the title refers to the specific compounds, baking soda, borax, muriatic acid, that replace the pool store specialty products. The bleach component adds to the monthly total but replaces pool store liquid chlorine at a net reduction. The honest seasonal cost comparison. Pool store versus grocery store method. 1 pool store reactive approach for a 15,000-gallon residential pool across a 5-month season. Liquid chlorine at pool store prices, $320. Alkalinity increaser at pool store prices, $80 pH up at pool store prices, $90 pH down at pool store prices, $70. Weekly algaecide, $240. Specialty shock and clarifier purchases, $100. Pool store impulse purchases from water test recommendations, $80 total, approximately $980 per season. Grocery store method for the same pool, bleach across the season, $260. Baking soda for alkalinity, $10. Borax for borate system setup, $20. 1 washing soda for pH raising, $5. Muriatic acid, $10. Pool store items, CYA Cal Hypo Bulk, drop test kit, borate strips, $90 total. Amortized across 2 seasons makes it $45 per season. Total, approximately $350 per season. Saving in year 1, $630. Saving in year 2 and every subsequent year when setup costs are not repeated, $700 to $800 per season. Across a 10-year pool ownership, $6,000 to $8,000 saved from one shopping list change and one system change. The $4 figure in the title is the monthly cost of the 3 grocery store compounds, baking soda, borax, and muriatic acid, that replace the specialty products on the pool store wall. It is not the total monthly chemistry cost including chlorine. It is the cost of the ingredients that the pool store has been charging $40 per item for, sourced correctly from the store you were already going to. What changes the first time you read the back of the pool store tub? There is a specific moment that every pool owner who makes this switch describes. One, they are standing in the pool store, tub of alkalinity increaser in hand, about to add it to the cart. For whatever reason, this video, a conversation, a moment of curiosity, they flip the tub over and read the active ingredient. Sodium bicarbonate. They put the tub down, they drive to the grocery store, they buy a 10-pound bag of baking soda for $8, they go home. The water does not know anything changed. Sodium bicarbonate raises alkalinity whether it came in a pool store tub or a grocery bag. The chemistry is identical. The pool response is identical. The receipt is $30 lighter. 1. That moment, flipping the tub and reading the back, is the moment the pool store markup stops working. Not for that owner on that day, permanently. Because once you know that alkalinity increaser is baking soda, you cannot unknow it. And once you know that one product on the pool store wall is a grocery store compound at a 400% markup, you start reading the back of every other container on that wall. Borax in the pH up, sodium hypochlorite in the liquid chlorine. 1. The pattern becomes visible and the wall stops looking like specialized chemistry and starts looking like what it actually is. A grocery store in a specialty context, charging specialty prices. The pool store is 2 miles from your house. The grocery store is 1 mile from your house. Both of them have what your pool needs. One of them has been charging you $40 for what the other sells for $4. Read the back of the bottle every time before every purchase. That habit, applied consistently, is worth $600 to $800 per season and $6,000 to $800 across the life of your pool. 1. The pattern that ends with one shopping trip. Every pool store receipt you have ever had reflects this same pattern. Commodity chemistry, specialty labeled, specialty priced, sold in a specialty context to buyers who had no way to make the comparison. Not because the information was hidden, because it was on the back of the bottle in plain language, and no one in that context had any incentive to point you there. The baking soda is $1 per pound at the grocery store. It has been $1 per pound for decades. The pool store has been selling it at $4 to $5 per pound for the same decades. 1. The information needed to close that gap has always been available on the back of both containers. The only thing missing was someone pointing at the back of the bottle instead of the front. This channel points at the back of the bottle. Every video, every compound, every dose. No sponsors, no pool store revenue at stake. The next pool store visit does not have to produce a $90 receipt. It can produce a $90 annual visit for the 4 things that genuinely belong there. Everything else happens at the grocery store and the hardware store on the trip you were already making. 1. The pool is the same pool. The chemistry is the same chemistry. The water does not know which store the compounds came from. Only the receipt knows. And from here forward, the receipt looks different. If this is the video that finally explained what you have been overpaying for and by how much, drop it in the comments. What was the pool store product and what did it cost you per season? That number shared honestly is what helps the next owner read the back of the bottle before they pay the front of the bottle price one more time. Every video on this channel works the same way. Run real numbers. No sponsors, no pool store upsell. If that is useful to you, subscribe. This channel reads the water, not the marketing.